How you doing there? Welcome back to Babylon Talmud. Today we're studying technically we're studying Daf Yud, but officially we're studying Daf Yud. But let me tell you a secret. We got quite a bit of Daf test to do. But it's gewaldig, friends. It's gewaldig. I'll tell you, yesterday's Daf, I was very rushed because I had to go to the cemetery. But now I'm rushed because I committed to doing something in 54 minutes from now. So hopefully it should be enough time. I'd rather not rush it because I don't like to rush it. But all right, let's go back to. So we're going to start in Daf Tesamud Beis at the Mishnah. So we really have it's a big Amud, and we have about 3/4 of it to do. But we're going to start the Mishnah in Daf Tesamud Beis. Today's Daf we're going to talk a lot about Shimshon. You know Shimshon Agibor, Samson and Delilah. It's a niggin. The Grateful Dead has a niggin called I think it's taka called Samson and Delilah. So right, is that what it's called? I think it is Samson and Delilah. Yeah. Yeah. Samson said, Delilah, you cut off my hair. Something like that. Yeah. I don't listen to the Grateful Dead that often anymore. Let's go weiter. So here we go. Tesamud Beis at the Mishnah. Shimshon olach achar einov lefichach nakru plishtim as einov. Ho. Shimshon went after his eyes. Therefore the Philistines gorged out his eyes. Yeah. Shenemar, as the pasuk says, ve'yochazu plishtim ba'inakrus einov, that the plishtim chapped him and they gorged out his eyes. Avshalom nizgoy b'sayro. Avshalom was getting all excited about his hair. Therefore he was hanged by his hair. And because he slept with 10 concubines of his father, therefore they placed in him, what are lunvios? Spears? Like 10 spears? They speared him with 10 spears. Okay, I don't know. They all speared him. Ginevos, Lev Aviv, V'lev Bezin, V'lev Yisrael, because he sort of stole the hearts of 3 parties of his father, Bezdin, and the Yidden. Nefichach Niskubo Gimel Shvatim. That's why. So what are Shvatim? Also like spears, or maybe one of them is like a lance. I don't know. The dude is very, very dead. So they made him really dead 3 additional times. Shneimar, as the pasuk says, Veikach Shlosha Shvatim Bechapo Vayiskoim B'lev Avshalom. That he, who is that? Yoav, I think, chapped 3 like spears, I guess, and speared him 3 times. Now this also works in the good way, right? We've been saying in sort of the negative ways, how there's all sorts of bad stuff that are like mida connected mida, but it can also be good stuff. Lamaisa, Miriam imtinu leMoshe shah achas. Miriam waited for Moses when he was in the river. So Shinemar, as the puzzle says, that she stood from a distance. For that reason the Yidden waited 7 days for her in the desert when she had saras. Shinemar, as the puzzle says, Miriam, that the nation did not continue to travel until Miriam was healed from her tzaras. Yosef zocha likbor as aviv. Joseph buried his father Jacob. Ve'ein be'echov gadol mimenu. And Joseph was the greatest, of course, of all the brothers. Right? He was the second in command in Egypt. Shneimar Pasuk says, "Vayal Yosef likbor as aviv," that Joseph went to bury his father. Vayal imo gam recheb gam paroshim. He brought wagons and horse riders. Milanu Godom Yosef Shlomisasik Bo Ella Moshe. And Joseph, who took care of his father Jacob, so Moses buried Joseph. Moshe Zacha Batzmas Yosef Ve'imbiso Godom Imenu. And there's no, right? Moses is like top. Shenemar says Vayikach Moshe Satzmas Yosef Imo, that Moses took the bones of Joseph with him. Migodom Moshe Shlomisasik Bo Ella Amakom. And who buried? Who took care to bury Moses? The Eibishter. Shneimar, as the pasuk says, Vayikbor also Bagai the Eibishter buried Moses in a valley. Lo al Moshe bilvad amu el al kol tzadikim. And this actually is not just for Moses, but for all of the righteous individuals. Shenemar b'halach b'fonecha tzidkecha k'void Hashem yasvecha. That if you're a tzaddik, if you're a righteous individual, so the Eibishter will bury you. Says the Gemara Tanur Rabbanan, Shimshon bein of Morat, that Shimshon rebelled with his eyes. Shenemar, as the pasuk says, Vayomer Shimshon alaviv osa kachli. Shimshon wanted to marry a Philistine woman, and he says to his father, "I want go chaper rein for me, go take her for me, he yishara yashra be'enai, because she is straight in my eyes, she's fitting in my eyes." Because his eyes took him towards a Philistine woman, so therefore his eyes were gorged out. Shneimar, as the pasuk says, "Vayechazu plishtim vayinakru as enav," that the plishtim grabbed him and gorged out his eyes. Ini, is this really true that he went after his eyes and that's why he was punished? That it came from the Eibishter. It was from the Eibishter, but as far as Shimshon was concerned, he thought that he was in control and that he was making his own decisions. So even though yes, it came from the Eibishter, but Shimshon, as far as he was concerned, was making his own decisions, and he made the decision to follow his eyes to a Philistine woman. Wait, did I just read that? Yeah. Tanya, we're learning about Rabbi Yomer says, Rabbi Tchilas Kilkulo Ba'aza, that Samson's initial mess up was in Gaza. Lefichach Laka Be'aza. That's why he was smitten in Gaza. Tchilas Kilkulo Ba'aza Dichsev Ve'elech Shimshon Azosa Ve'yasham Ishazon Ve'gomer. His first misstep, his first mess up was in Gaza, as it says that Samson went to Gaza and he saw over there a harlot. Lefichach laka ba'aza. That's why he was smitten in Gaza. Dichsev vayiridu also azasa, that they took him to Gaza. But doesn't the verse say vayirid Shimshon timnosa tchilas nu? So 1 second, I thought that he went to Timnos before he went to Gaza. Yes, enachinami. But the beginning, when he went to Timnos, he went there to get married. But when he went to Gaza, he went not to get married, but to be with a Philistine woman. Okay, and then after all this, then in Nachal Sorik, which I believe is near Beit Shemesh, Samson fell in love with a woman, with Delilah. Vishma Delilah, her name was Delilah. Tanya Rebbe Omer, Ilmale Nikra Shma Delilah, Ru'uya Haisashatikari Delilah. Rebbe says, even if her name was not Delilah, then it should have been Delilah. Like it made total sense that her name was Delilah. Dildula is Kocho, she messed up his strength. Dildula is Libo, she messed up his heart. Dildula is Maisav, she messed up his actions. Dildula as kocho dichsev, she messed up his strength, as it's written. But also kocho me'olav, that his strength went away from him. Dildula as libo, she messed up his heart. Dichsev atera delila ki higidla as kol libo, that Delilah saw that Shimshon was telling the truth. That he told her all of his heart. Dildula as maisav, and she messed up his actions. De istalik shchinamine, that the divine presence was removed from him. The pasuk says v'ulo yada, that he didn't know ki Hashem samei olav, that the Eibishter was gone from him. Vater Delila ki higidla es kolibo mino yada. Right, the pasuk says that Delilah saw that Samson was telling the truth. How did she know the difference between truth and folly? Amar Reb Chanan, Amar Rav Nikarin Divrei Emes. Says Reb Chanan, the name of Rav, you can tell when somebody's telling the truth. And therefore, when Samson told the truth about the source of his strength, she knew that it was truth. Abaye Omer Yada Bo Ba'oso Tzadik. Abaye says she knew because she knew that Samson was a righteous individual. Shelo Mapik Shem Shemaim Levatol, that he would not mention the name of God in vain, and therefore, right, it came into Omer, and therefore, when he said Nazir Elokim Ani, when he says I am a Nazir of God, Omer Hashta Vaday Kushta Kamer, he's definitely telling the truth because he invoked the name of God. And when Delilah was being an absolute nudnik all the time, and she was pressuring him. Ma'avatal say, what does it mean? She was like, what was she doing to him? Omer Yitzchak Devei Rebbe Devei Reb Ami B'Shas Gemar Bia Nishmito Mitachtov, that B'Shas orgasm she slipped away. She went away. Ve'ato Hisham Rino V'Altishti Yain V'Shecher V'Atoch L'Kol Tomei. It says by Samson's mother, when she was pregnant with him, it says don't drink any wine and don't eat anything impure. Michael, tell me, what are these impure things that she's not supposed to eat? Vesu arhashta dvarim tmeim ka'achla, and what? And does that imply that until then she was eating impure stuff? Like, what is this tmeya stuff? The things that are forbidden to a nazir. That's a dvarim tummy. So wine, grapes. Vayivka Elokim es ha-machtesh asher balechi. So it says that Samson, after smiting 1,000 Philistines, he was really thirsty. So he broke open like a jawbone of a donkey, which he used to kill 1,000 Philistines, and then water came out of it, and he drank. Because he was involved in tamei things, so that's why his life was saved by something tamei. V'atochel ruach Hashem ve'gomer. It says that I think when Shimshon was born, I think it says that the Spirit of God began to blow in the camp of Dan between Tzara and Eshtaol. So Amar Reb Chama bar Chanina Cholsa Nevuaso She'Yaakov Avinu, that the prophecy of Jacob was realized. As it says, Yidon Nochash Ale Darech, that Dan will be a serpent on the way. Lefa'amo b'machne Dan, so it says Lefa'amo, to be like a pa'amon in the camp of Dan. Amar Yitzchak Devei Reb Ami Milam Shehoysa Shechina Mikaskeses Lefonov Kizug, that the divine presence was like chiming in front of Samson like a bell. It says over here, it says over here by Samson to be like a pa'amon, like a lefa'amo by the camp of Dan, and it says by Kohen Gadol how there was the bell and the pomegranates and stuff. Bein Tzara ve'Eshtaol, between Tzara and Eshtaol, Amar Reb Asi Tzara ve'Eshtaol shnei harim gedolim hayu. Tzara and Eshtaol are these two big mountains. Ve'akron Shimshon v'tachnon zeboze. Samson uprooted the mountains. Wow. And he ground them up one against the other. And he began to save the Yidden. Amar Reb Chama bar Chanina huchal shvuaso shel Avimelech, that the agreement that was between Avimelech and Avram, that they would kind of leave each other alone, became null and void because the Philistines violated it. The pasuk says, "Im tishkali ulenini lenechti," that they made this agreement between Avram and Avimelech that nobody will kind of lie to each other or do anything negative, but that became null and void. That Samson got big and the Eibishter blessed him. But how did the Eibishter bless him? Amar of Yudah Marab shebercho ba'abaso. It says in the name of Rab that Lemaise he blessed him with a penis. Amasuk fnei Adam, a regular one, but the seed was like a flowing river, a rushing river of seed. Vayikra Shimshon el Hashem vayomer. Samson cried out to the Eibishter, and he said, Hashem Elokim, God, Zocheinu v'chazkeinu, remember me, make me strong. Ach, apam hazeh, just this time, v'inokma nekamachas mishte'enov einai miplishtim, and I will avenge the revenge of one of my two eyes that was gouged out, poked out, removed savagely from the Philistines. Samson said before the Eibishter, Rebbeinu Shalom, Master of the world, Zachor li esrim shana sheshafati es Yisrael, please God remember for me the 20 years that I was the leader of Israel. Velo amarti le'echad mehem, I didn't even say to one person, haverli makom mimakom lemakom, can you bring me a stick from one place to the next? Nothing. I left everybody alone. Vayilech Shimshon Vayilkod Shalosh Meos Shualim. Shimshon went and he chopped 300 wolves. Ma'ishna Shualim. What's special about wolves? Foxes? Davke. Omer Reb Evo by Nagdi. Omer B'chia Ba'aba. Omer Shimshon. That Shimshon said, Yavo Mishachozel Achorv, a fox that when it's attacked it doesn't run away, it just backs up. V'yifram Plishtim Shechozel B'Shvosin, and the foxes should take revenge should pay back from the Philistines who reneged on their agreement between Avimelech and Avram. Tanya Amr B'Shimon HaChosid, says B'Shimon HaChosid, Ben Kseifav Shel Shimshon Shishim Amo Hoya, that between the shoulders of Samson was 60 amos. Shnikes. Shenemar, the Bible says, Vayishkav Shimshon ad Chatzi Alayla. Shimshon slept until midnight. Vayocham b'Chatzi Alayla. He got up at midnight. Vayochaz b'Dalsus Shara Ir, and he chopped the gates of the city. Uv'shtei Amazuzis, and the two posts. Vayisoim al Imabriach, and he chopped them with the bar. Vayosim al Kseifav, and put him on his shoulders. U'Kamirei the Dalsus az Pchusus mi Shishim Amah, that the gates of Gaza are 60 amas. Vayihi Tochen b'Veis Asurim. And they put him in jail, and he was grinding there. Amr Reb Yochanan Entrina Lashon Avera, that grinding is a lashon of Avera, of Bia. V'chein u Omer, the pasuk says, Titchon la'acher ishti, that my wife is sleeping with other people. Milamich kol echad ve'echad hebilo as ishto leveis hasurim, teaches that all the Philistines, they brought, everybody brought his wife to the jail, so that Samson could impregnate them, and then they could, I guess, have really strong children. Okay. Papa says, that, if to someone who drinks wine, give him wine. Kame Rafuka Grida Duvla, by a farm, somebody who works in as a farmer, give him some vegetables. And here also, right, Shimshon was involved in these relationships with these Philistine women, and therefore, what ended up happening was they brought him all of their wives. Okay. If a fellow is sleeping around, so his wife is also going to be sleeping around. Shneimar, as the Pasuk says, libi al ishav al pesach rei aravti, that if I am, I guess, taken by being with another woman, and on the door of my friend, I am ambushing. And it says that my wife is with other people, and other people are going to be with her. So I think the connection there is the ishti thing. This is what people say, that he's with the squashes and his wife is with the baby squashes, like they're both involved in the same stuff. Rabbi Yochanan says that Shimshon judged the Yidden like their father in heaven. Father is a father, Abba, like their father in heaven. Shenemar, as the Pasuk says, Don Yodin Amo Ke'echod V'Gomer, that Don, which was the Shevet of Shimshon, Ke'echod, like the Eibishter. Ve'Omer B'Yochanan says, B'Yochanan Shimshon al Shmo Shel Kadosh Baruch Hu Nikra, that Shimshon is like the name of God. Shenemar, as the Pasuk says, Ki Shemesh, which is like Shimshon, U'Magen Hashem Elokim, that Shimshon is like God. Well, if Samson is the name of God, then you shouldn't be able to erase it. It's like the name of God. Just like the Eibishter protects the world. Kulo af Shimshon megin b'doro al Yisrael. Also, Samson protected his nation, his generation, of Israel. Bilam was lame in one leg. Shenemar says Vayelech Shefi, that he walked, I guess, in a one-legged, lamed way. Shimshon Chiger b'shtei raglav. Shimshon was lame in two legs. Shenemar says Shvifon ale orach, like a shvifon. I don't know, what's a shvifon? Like a snake or a serpent, I guess, and like serpents, I guess, like don't have legs. Oh, okay, fine. There were 5 people who were created like resembling God. Like there were 5 people who were created with like godly attributes, and all of them were like smitten in that way. Shimshon v'kolcho. Shimshon was very Shimshon Agibor. It's very strong. Shaul b'tzavaro. Shaul's neck. Avshalom b'sayro. Avshalom with his hair. Tzidkiah be'enav. Tzidkiah with his eyes. Asa b'raglav, and Asa with his feet, his legs. Shimshon v'kolcho. Dichsiv v'yosher koch me'olav. Samson's strength went away, as it says that his strength went away. Shaul b'tzavaro. Right, it says that Shaul was like from his neck and above. He was taller than everybody, and yet it says Dichsiv v'yikach Shaul sacher v'yipol aleo, that Shaul fell on his sword, and the place where you die from a sword is your neck. Avshalom b'sayro, and Avshalom he had beautiful hair, and his hair got stricken. The comment as we're going to discuss later on. Tzidkiah be'enov. Tzidkiah with his eyes. The Chsiv is supposed to say as eni Tzidkiah iver, that he blinded the eyes of Tzidkiah. Asa b'raglav, and Asa with his legs. The Chsiv ve'rakles ziknoso chole es raglav, that when he got old, his legs gave out. He got sick. V'amar Yehuda Marav shachazaso padgira, that padgira overtook him, and that's a foot disease. Amar Mazutra, brother of Nachman, heichi dami padgira. So Mazutra, brother of Nachman, says to Rav Nachman, tell me more about padgira. Amar le kimachad b'b'sarchai. Rav Nachman says it's like a needle puncturing live flesh. Mino Yoda, how does Rav Nachman know this? He could Rav Nachman says he once had padgira. The Gemara says maybe Rav Nachman himself had padgira. Maybe he heard it from his teacher. That the secrets of God are to those who fear Him, and His covenant to let them know. Therefore, from the fact that Rav Nachman was the great Rav Nachman, he just knew. Darish Rabbi expounded, Asa was punished because he like politicized, made the Torah scholars participate in political matters. Shenem, as the pasuk says, "V'amelech Asa Shmiya is called Yehuda ein Naki," that Asa made sort of all the people of Judah come out, and there were no exceptions. Even a groom from his chosen's tish, or a bride from her wedding canopy. The pasuk says, it says that Samson went down to Timnos. But 1 second, by Yehuda it says that he was going up to Timnos. So I don't understand. Do you go up to Timnos or do you go down to Timnos? Omar Rab Elazar Shimshon she nizgane ba ksiv be Yerida. So Shimshon, who didn't do good things there, so it says Yerida went down there. Yehuda she nis'ala ba, but Yehuda who got raised up from there, because that's where David came from that. Ksiv be Aliyah. It says going. It says there going up. My apologies. I've been saying Timnos. For some reason I thought I saw it say Timnos somewhere else, but it's not Timnos. It's Timno. It's Timno. Okay, fine. Timno. Fine. Where am I? Okay. No. So one answer is that because Samson sort of had a downfall there, so it says he went down, and Judah had an upfall. So therefore it says he went up. Shmuel ben Achmani Omar Shtei Timnos saw you that there were taka 2 Timnos. Chad Beirida v'chad b'aliyah. One you had to go down to, the other one you had to go up to. Rav Papa Omar says, Rav Papa chad Timno Havoi, there was only one Timno. The Asi Ma'agisa Yerida with Asi Ma'agisa Aliyah, meaning it was in the middle of the mountain, and therefore if you came from the top you had to go down, if you came from the bottom you had to go up. Kigon, Vardonio, Veibari, Vishuka Dinarish, these are also places that were, I guess, in the middle of a mountain. Vateshiv Pesach Inoim, and it says by Tomer that she sat at the Pesach Inoim. What does it mean? Alexandri, that she went and she sat by the entrance to the entrance of Abraham. Malcolm Shkol Einaim Tzofus, they're also a place that everybody could see, right? Just like Abraham, his tent was open in all 4 directions so that people can come in. So she also went to a place that was visible to everybody. Reb Chanan Omar Malcolm Hu Sheshmo Einaim. Reb Chanan says there's a place that's called Einaim. V'chein Omar is also, we have a puzzle that says Tapuach Ve'Einam. So there's a place called Einaim. That's where she went. Shmuel bar Nachmani Amar shenosna einayim ledvareh kishetava. That she basically gave sort of alibis. I think that makes sense. She gave like explanations to Yehuda when she was trying to get him to sleep with her. Amrla, he said to her, Shema Nachrisat, maybe you are not Jewish. Amrle Gioris Ani, I am a convert. Shema Eishes Ishat, but maybe you're a married woman. Amrle Pnuya Ani, no, I'm single. Shema Kibel Bach Avich Kiddushin, maybe your father accepted Kesef Kiddushin for you, which is interesting because she said that she's a Gioris, and if she's a Gioris, then how does she have a father? Maybe your father accepted Kesef Kiddushin. Amrle Yisoma Ani, she says, no, I'm a Yisoma. Shema Tmea At, maybe you're Tmea, Amrle Tehora Ani, she says, no, I am pure. I am not Tameh. Vayita Eishel beVe'ersheva. It says by Avram Avinu that he planted an Eishel in Beersheva. Amar Rish Lakish Melamed also Pardes V'notabo Kol Minei Megadim. So Rish Lakish says, what does it mean? It means that he planted an orchard and he planted there are all sorts of delectable treats. Reb Yehuda, Reb Nechemya, Chad Omar Pardes V'Chad Omar Pundak. So as Machlokes Reb Yehuda and Reb Nechemya, one taka says it's a orchard, the other one says it's a hotel. So I understand if you say it's an orchard, that's why it says that it was planted. But if you say that it was a hotel, you plant a hotel, so we say, yeah, taka, actually, yes. That it says that he planted, he pitched the tents of his palace. So you can see the word of vayita by like a hotel. Hashem Kelolam, and he called out Darin in the name of God, the God of the world. Amr Rish Lakish Atikre Vayikra El Vayakri. Don't say that he called out, but he made others call out. He caused to be called out. Malamed, it teaches Sheikri Avram Avinu Lishmosha Kodesh Baruch Hu Befekol Over V'Shav, that Avram Avinu caused for the name of God to be called out in all everybody would call out to God, would praise God. Keitzad, how did this work? Well, they would pass by Avraham Avinu's tent and he would invite them in, they would have a Sotah, and then they would go to bless Avraham Avinu. Amar Lehem, he says, no. What, you think you ate from me? You ate from the Eibishter, the God of the world. Hodu vishabchu uverchu l'misham v'hayolam. Give praise and thanks to He who said, and the world became. Vayirel Yehuda vayachshvel lezona. Yehuda saw Tamar, and he thought that she was a harlot. He kisses opanea because she covered her face. Mishum dechisses opanea chashvel lezona. What? Just because she covered her face, he thought that she was a harlot. Amar Reb Elazar shechisses opanea beveis chamia. It's because when she was in her father-in-law's house, i.e., when she was in Yehuda's house all the time, she would always keep her face covered because she was so tsanua, and therefore he didn't even recognize her. That Reb Shmuel bar Nachmani says in Reb Yonason that any daughter-in-law who is very modest in her father-in-law's house, so she merits to have kings and prophets come from her. Minalan mitamer. We know this from Tamer. Neviim dichsev Chazon Yeshayahu ben Amoz Melachim miDavid. Because we see that Yeshayahu and David, who both came from Tamer, were respectively prophets and kings. Levi, David and Masoros Be'adenu. We have this tradition. We have a saying from our fathers, Amos v'Amatzia Achim Havu, that Amos and Amatzia were brothers, and Amos was the father of Yoshiyahu, the prophet, and Amatzia was the king of Judah. He mutses, she was being taken out. He misutses mi bai le. It shouldn't say he mutses, it should say he mituses, that she was being taken out. Not right. Mutses sounds like something was being found, like she was being found. Amar Belazar lachoshet nimtzu simoneo. Well, after she found her signs, right? Because it was the signs that she kind of showed to Judah, and she says, "Look at these things. Whoever recognizes these things, that's who I became pregnant from." So she had these signs to present, and then Basamel v'richakon, that Samel, who is the angel of Seir, of Esav, came and distanced them because he knew that in the future David, who she was she was pregnant with basically David's forefathers, right, ancestors. So if Samuel understood that if Tamar gets killed, so then there's no David to defeat Edom, so to defeat Seir. So therefore, Samuel tried to hide these signs. So, but Gabriel came and brought him back. And this is what the Pasuk says: Yonas Elam Rechokim LeDavid Michtam. That this Kapitel Tilim for that which was far, and that was the signs that Gabriel brought close. That Samuel distanced and Gabriel brought close. Amar B'Yochanan Mishash Nisrachaku Simonea Naisis Kiyonas Ilemis. That when the signs were taken away from her, she became like a mute dove. The David Michtam, to David a Michtam, Sheyatzu Menu David Shaya Moch Vitam Lakol. That and came from Tamar, David, who was a humble and complete to everyone. Davar Acher, alternatively Michtam, Sheyamakasu Tamo. Michtam means that his wound was whole. Shenolad Kshumahu, that he was born with a bris milah already. Davar Acher, alternatively Michtam, Kishem Shebekatnuso Hiktin Atzmo Eitzel Mi Shegado Mimenu, just like when he was young, he made himself small towards those who were greater than him. Lilmod Torah, to study, to learn the Holy Torah. Kach Begaduso, also when he got big, he did the same. V'hishalcha el Chamia, and Tamar sent to her father-in-law, Lemor leisha asher elelo anochi hara, to say that whoever is the owner of these items, from him I became pregnant. V'tema le meimer. Why does she need to do this whole kind of like code kind of thing? Like, why doesn't she just say, Judah, I became pregnant from you. It was you who impregnated me. Instead, she says, look, here are some signs. Whoever's things these are, it's from that person. Why didn't she just be direct? So, Amar Rav Zutra bar Tuvia, Amar Rab, V'amrila, Amar Rav Chana bar Bizna, Amar Rav Shimon Chasida, V'amrila, Amar Rav Yochanan, Mishum Rav Shimon ben Yochai, Noach lo l'adam she'apil atzmam l'soch kivshan ha'esh. Better that a person should throw himself into a fiery furnace, and should not embarrass his friend in public. Minolan, how do we know this? Mitamar, from Tamar. Haker no, Amar B'cham B'chanina, B'haker B'isel Aviv, B'haker B'sru. That when it says Haker no, right, that Tamar says, recognize these things, please. So, that's the same lashon that Judah used to tell his father Jacob about Joseph, right? B'haker B'ser, that Judah says to Jacob, Haker no, Aksonas bincha, he, right, recognize, is this the cloak, the garment of your son Joseph? B'haker B'sru, Haker no, lemi. That, and also Tamar says to Judah, recognize who these belong to. No, el lashon b'akoshe, that no is a lashon of please. Amrle, she says to Judah, b'akoshe mimcha, please, haker pnei borecha, recognize the face of your Creator. V'atalim eincha einecha mimeni, and do not hide your eyes from me. Vayakir Yehuda recognized these items. Vayomer tzadka mimeni, and he says she's right. She became pregnant from me. Hanu da Amar Rav Chanan bar Bizna Amar Rav Shimon Chasida Yosef shekidesh Shemaim baseiser. Joseph, who made a kiddush Hashem in private, right, with the wife of Potiphar. Zocha v'osifulo os achas mishmosha Hakadosh Baruch Hu. So they added one name from one letter from God's name to Joseph's name. D'chsiv edus bihosev Samo. That it says Bihosef with an extra hey. But Yehuda on the other hand, Shekidesh Shem Shemaim b'far Hesya, but Judah who was Mekadesh Shem Shemaim in public, Zocha v'nika Kulo al Shmo Hakadosh Baruch Hu. Right? He has the full Yud Kei Vav Kei in the name Yehuda. Kim Jehoda v'Omar Tzadka mimeni, and when Judah admitted and said, yes, she's right, she's pregnant from me, Baskol v'Omra Ata Yitzalta Tamar v'Shnei Baneo, a voice from heaven came out and said, you saved Tamar and her two children, Minaur, from the fire. Chayecha shani matzil bizchuscha gimel mibanecha minaur. So in your merit, I will save 3 of your children from fire. Ninu, who are they? Hanani, Mishael, v'Azariah. Tzod kamimeni mina yoda. How did Judah know that Tamar was pregnant from him? Maybe she became pregnant from somebody else. Yotzu Sabaskov Amra, a heavenly voice came emanated and said, Mimeni Yotzu Kvushim, that these hidden things came from me. V'lo Yosef od the daita Omer Shmuel Sova Chamua Dirav Shmuel Bar Ami Mishmei Dirav Shmuel Bar Ami. Okay. Kevan Sheyada Shuv Lo Posak Mimena. That once already they had beer that first time they never stopped. Ksevacha V'lo Yosef od the daita Uchsevasum Kol Gadol V'lo Yosef. It says by Har Sinai that it was this great sound, great voice that never ended, never stopped. So also by Yehuda, right, V'lo Yosef od the daita means that he never stopped being with her, that they continued to be together. Woo! All right, friends, that was Daf Yud of Masechta Sotah. We kind of did a whole bunch of stuff. We talked a lot about Shimshon. We talked about Avram Avinu, Nachnos Asorchim. We talked about Yehuda and Tamar. Some famous Gemaras there with the Eshel of Avram, and with better to throw yourself in a fiery furnace and to embarrass your friend in public. Very interesting stuff on Daf Yud of Masechta Sotah. Hope you enjoyed. Peace out.